Դեկտեմբերի 12-ին 5-շաբթի օրը Ամերիկայի Միացյալ Նահանգների Սենատը միաձայն ընդունեց սենատորներ Ռոբերտ Մենենդեզի եւ Թեդ Քրուզի հեղինակած հայոց ցեղասպանությունը ճանաչող 150-րդ բանաձևը։ Չնայած նախագահ Թրամփի վարչակազմի ցուցմունքների, որ հանրապետական 3 սենատորներ տարբեր ժամանակներ արգելափակեցին հայոց ցեղասպանության քննարկումը Սենատում, այնուամենայնիվ սենատորներ Մենենդեզի եւ Քրուզի տքնաջան աշխատանքի շնորհիվ այն ընդունվեց, հագուր տալով զոհերի ու նրանց ժառանգների տառապող հոգիներին եւ սրանով կարծես վերջ դնելով Անկարայի ժխտողական քաղաքականությանը։
I ask unanimous consent that the Senate Foreign Relations Committee be discharged from further consideration of SRES 150 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration.
Without objection. The clerk will report.
Senate Resolution 150, expressing the sense of the Senate that it is the policy of the United States to commemorate the Armenian Genocide through official recognition and remembrance.
Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the measure.
Madam President, I further ask that the resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, and the motions to reconsider be considered, made, and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Without objection.
Madam President.
The senator from New Jersey.
Thank you, Madam President. We have just passed the Armenian Genocide Resolution recognition, and it is fitting and appropriate that the Senate stands on the right side of history in doing so. It commemorates the truth of the Armenian Genocide. On Monday, we commemorated the International Day of Commemoration and Dignity of the victims of the crime of genocide and of the prevention of this crime. The UN General Assembly established this day of remembrance to commemorate and honor the victims of genocide and to highlight efforts to combat and prevent genocide. Passing this resolution is a fitting tribute to this day of remembrance. I have come to the floor on various occasions to talk about the history of the Armenian Genocide. An Armenian priest, Krikoris Balakian, recorded some of the massacres of innocent Armenians. Quote, he said, in Ankara and its surroundings, only a couple hundred miles east of Constantinople, the killing was done with axes, cleavers, shovels, and pitchforks. It was like a slaughterhouse. Armenians were hacked to pieces. Infants were dashed on rocks before the eyes of their mothers. It was indescribable horror. Even when Armenians were supposedly deported, the conditions they were forced to live in made clear that Turkey's ultimate goal was to eliminate the Armenian people. A visitor to one Turkish city in October of 1915 wrote, quote, the 16,000 deported Armenians who were living in the tents have been sent to Konya in cattle trucks. At night, while thousands of these unfortunate people without food or shelter shiver with cold, those brutes who are supposed to be their guardians attacked them with clubs and pushed them towards the station. Women, children, and old men are packed together in the trucks. The men have to climb onto the top of the trucks in spite of this dreadful cold. Their cries are heartbreaking, but all in vain. Hunger, cold, and fatigue, together with the government's deeds of violence, soon achieved the extermination of the last remnant of the Armenian people. Henry Morgenthau, the U.S. ambassador to Turkey from 1913 to 1916, understood full well what was transpiring. He left his post in early 1916 because, as he later recalled, quote, my failure to stop the destruction of the Armenians had made Turkey, for me, a place of horror. Madam President, American diplomats like Henry Morgenthau were on the ground in Turkey, and they made heroic efforts to help the Armenian people. But here in Washington at the time, no one did anything in the face of this heinous crime. As former UN Ambassador Samantha Power wrote in her Pulitzer Prize-winning book, A Problem from Hell, America's non-response to the Turkish horrors established patterns that would be repeated. As my colleague from Texas, my co-sponsor, who has been such a stalwart advocate with me, has very often noted, this is the first genocide to be recorded in the century. We know all too well the horrors that would be repeated later in the 20th century with the Holocaust and other genocides around the world. So here in the Senate today, we break those patterns. We join the House, who voted to do so by passing a resolution affirming the facts of the genocide, 405 to 11. Today, the Senate shows the same resolve. I'm deeply grateful to Senator Cruz for her stalwart leadership on this issue, to the 27 other senators from both parties who have co-sponsored the resolution and demonstrated their commitment to the truth, and the truth is finally will set us free. I am thankful that this resolution has passed at a time in which there are still survivors of the genocide. We'll be able to see that the Senate acknowledges what they went through. With that, Madam President, I yield the floor.
Madam President, I thank my colleague and friend, the senator from New Jersey, for his powerful remarks, and I rise today to celebrate a bipartisan achievement, an achievement of the Senate, an achievement for truth, an achievement for speaking the truth to darkness, for speaking the truth to evil, for speaking the truth to murder, for speaking the truth to genocide. This journey has been a long journey. Senator Menendez has been fighting this fight a long time. I've been proud to stand by his side. This is the third week in a row we have come to the Senate floor seeking to pass this resolution. And I'm grateful that today we have succeeded. The Menendez-Cruz resolution affirms U.S. recognition of the Armenian Genocide. It's been far too long in coming. From 1915 to 1923, the Ottoman Empire carried out a forced deportation of nearly 2 million Armenians, of whom 1.5 million were killed. It was an atrocious genocide. That it happened is a fact and an undeniable reality. In fact, the very word genocide literally means the killing of an entire people. And it was coined by Raphael Lemkin to describe the horrific nature of the Ottoman Empire's calculated extermination of the Armenians. It is why we have the horrid word genocide in our English language. Over 100 years ago, the world remained silent as the Armenian people suffered and were murdered. And even today, many people are unaware of what happened. But we must never be silent in response to atrocity. We have a responsibility to stand up and speak the truth. With this resolution, the United States is now saying it is the policy of the United States of America to commemorate the Armenian Genocide through official recognition and remembrance. We have a moral duty to acknowledge what happened to the 1.5 million innocent souls who were murdered. It's the right thing to do, and I'm grateful that today we have seen every Republican, every Democrat come together in support of the bipartisan Menendez-Cruz resolution. This is a moment of truth that was far too long coming.